watching the morning show, and we are now on Table Talk. As earlier promised, my guest is Wajir County Senator, who as well is the Deputy Minority Leader of the Senate, AbdiRahman Ali Hassan. He served formerly as the Member of Parliament for Wajir South constituency prior the ushering into of the devolved system of governance to become the first Senator of Wajir County. Mheshimiwa, thank you.
Thank you too.
We do appreciate for coming on board. Now, to start off with Wajir County politics, recently the National Cohesion and Integration Commission released a report in which among the 32 most tribalistic counties, Wajir ranked somewhere. Are you not worried by the fact that the employment opportunities and the criteria used by your boss, the county boss, Ahmed Abdullahi, clearly is a concern for the societal makeup of the larger Wajir County politics?
I want to honestly admit, I read the figure.
Okay.
That was really provided by the National Cohesion. I got a report directly written by the National Commission on Cohesion.
Okay.
It clearly shows the disparities in recruitment between the various clans living in the area. And it's a cause to worry. I would not want to say it is the communities that are doing this, but leadership has to take responsibility for this. True, you can recruit people depending on their numerical strength in the various constituencies, but a blatant abuse of power can never be accepted. I want to say this disparity in terms of employment, and this is something that must be corrected. The county on its own is not tribal. It's not, that Wajir is one of the best areas in terms of, the people who live.
Cosmopolitan nature.
Cosmopolitan in nature, especially the town. The communities have very good understanding of how they relate, but an individual must take responsibility for this. I don't want to say the county is, so much leaning on clans.
General condemnation.
We can't condemn the entire county. The communities that live, irrespective of the sub-clans they come from or clans, are somehow much more cohesive than any other part of the region, the larger northern Kenya or northeastern region, let me say. So this is purely a management problem. It's purely the inefficiency, I would say, of the individual who is leading the executive arm. And this is one thing he has to take responsibility for. I will say, I'll be honest about it. I got the figures. You cannot compare. And this is something that can be corrected by, after all, we're going to the elections. We need a better manager, I would say. Yes.
For the 2017 elections.
Of course.
In Wajir County.
Of course.
Even as your boss, Ahmed Abdullahi.
He is not my boss.
You're the governor.
He is not my boss. I am the senator of Wajir County. I belong to the legislature. And I represent the county at the national level. He is not my boss. In fact,
he's the boss of the county.
He is
the same county you do represent at the Senate.
Head of the executive arm at the county level. He's never my boss. We are people who work together. He does a different function. I do a different function, promoting interest of the county at the national level. His real business is to make sure he executes the development agenda
at the county level.
That's it. He's never my boss, but he is probably, not probably, he's head of government.
He's head of the government, at the county government
at that county level,
yes. At the county level.
Yes.
Now you're
That's to correct.
Now you're in the Senate, and there are cases in which some governors have appeared before the committees of the Senate with regards to accountability, with regards to how they have evolved in their leadership at the county level, and they have been accused by members of the county assembly at some point of not being able to lead the country in the proper way, therefore appeared before your committees. On one hand, some who have been impeached, and then again politically salvaged by the committee of the Senate, and some who have appeared with regards to matters of integrity and how they led their counties. And therefore, at any point, did you consider summoning him to the Senate so that he accounts for any sort of failure at the county level?
The individual senator at the county level is not the man who summons. In fact, there is a committee responsible for accounting or oversight. The Senate largely has a main mandate of oversight in counties, both at the individual senator level for representing the county and largely the Senate. But we have the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate responsible for taking stock of what had happened at the end of a year in each of the counties. That's why you see
47
governors appearing before the Public Accounts Committee. The individual senators representing the counties that are now being questioned at different times come in as interested parties. They're invited. Governors have in the past refused to really come and to be questioned.
They
had failed to really know that there is an arm that checks on them, their excesses in terms of wastage and pilferage of resources. And now I think it's dawning on them that there is another arm that holds them accountable. There are state agencies that holds them accountable. We only need to enforce it further. And this being the first Senate, really, of course, it's never a smooth thing altogether. There are challenges.
A smooth transition.
There are challenges.
There are challenges.
But the truth is, county assembly members need to be bold enough to hold these people accountable. At the end of a year, when audit reports appear at the Senate, we're supposed to, through our committee, really look at how they had fared in terms of performance, use of resources, wastage, good performance. Of course, it's not all bad. The guys who do well. Not all the 47 governors are the same.
Not all are politically rotten.
I will say so. Coming to the impeachment, there are cases where we've impeached governors. I mean, not us impeaching, but the county assembly recommending impeachment and successfully going through the Senate, like that of Wambora, the governor for Embu, that have actually really not taken effect because courts have equally not really being so cooperative in terms of ensuring that those who do serious mistakes do not continue to spoil county governments. And there are cases where the county government, sorry, not the county government, but the Senate, felt it was not right to impeach them. We had actually let off the hook the Kericho governor. I was one of the committee members who actually sat for that particular impeachment hearing. And we left him off the hook because not everything that is said against a governor may be true.
Substantive.
So sometimes you have to really listen very keenly, be impartial, honest about it in terms of reasoning, and really checking on whether this is a case that has substance against the individual or not. So the Senate is a voice of reason. The Senate is the house that really considers what is before it in a very decisive way that really helps.
In a balance.
The stability of the county is also key for us. We will not want to see a county that is always in a situation of instability and development cannot be achieved. At the end of the day, the beneficiary is the local community. So we need to take care of the interests too.
Even as you play a role of being neutral and partial with regards to the hearings that you normally conduct after governors are impeached, or you summon them with regards to matters of accountability at the county level. Now, in Wajir County that you represent at the Senate, by 96% or 98% of members of Parliament, the governor, you, the senator, representatives of the Orange Democratic Movement, except only one member of Parliament, Wajir East member of Parliament, who was elected on a URP ticket, therefore. Now, President Kenyatta recently toured the northern part of the country, and in Wajir specifically, there were concerns that members of Parliament or politicians from the county might ship to join the recently formed Jubilee Party. Are you in any way unsettled in the Orange Democratic Party and might therefore seek sort of political representation in your next contest with the Jubilee Party?
Well, I must say I am solidly in ODM. I am the deputy minority leader. It's the party that sponsored me to Parliament. And I have not done any public declaration. The visit of the president of the nation is the president of everyone.
The head of state.
Yeah, he's the head of state. And when he's visiting any county, just like when a guest comes to your house, as the host, what do?
You welcome him.
You welcome him.
Hospitality.
Hospitality. We accorded him the hospitality he deserved as the president of the nation, which we will do any day with any other president, even if it's not Uhuru Kenyatta. And that's all we did. That's all we did. But and after all, for us, where I come from, parties are not a big deal. The communities elect Ayub, the individual, Hassan, the individual, based on performance. They will not look at whether you come with a Maka party or an ODM party or a Jubilee party. These things don't matter for us. What matters for us is who is able to deliver. The community's choice. Then it's eventually that you decide, where do I want to go? Our success is not dependent on either CORD or Jubilee as a community in northern Kenya. It's the individuals who determine where they will go. And I can only confirm again and again that the 5 people, members of parliament who are elected on ODM, are still family on ODM. The governor is in ODM. The senator is in ODM. The women rep is in ODM. And all of them are still in the same party. Unless probably clan alliances. I mean, for us, it's not about CORD affiliate parties or Jubilee affiliate parties. It's clan alliances.
Okay.
So that is what counts more than these party things people talk about.
In northern Kenya.
Yeah.
Now that brings me to this question. We have had the Gare community in Mandera County, which convened a meeting and they ruled that no political leader in Mandera County will vie for the next elections. And the reasons that the community provided was that this is meant to ensure that the political representation also brings on board other clan, other members of the sub-clan, so that there can be equal political representation to quench the thirst of representation in any entity of political competitions. Will that play a major role in shaping up the dynamics of politics in northern Kenya? Now that you have mentioned how clan plays an important role, more than the consideration of political parties or coalition.
The Mandera case is one that has been discussed widely
across the country.
In Kenya today. And one thing we must all appreciate is the Council of Elders in the Gare community had actually used the same process to install the current leadership. Clan elders are an important segment in our traditional systems, in our traditional values, in our traditional setup. This is something you must understand. We are a community that is governed not only through really our set laws in the country. Our community elders play an important role even in peacemaking. So they are actually at the center of virtually whatever we do as communities in northern Kenya, or in the northeast Kenya, let me say. The Mandera case, there will have been probably a few considerations they will have made. Instead of sending away everyone.
All the elected leaders.
Yes, to accommodate sub-clans. There is no one time all sub-clans will be considered in leadership. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's about representation. I mean, one individual can represent all the sub-clans of the Gare clan. So there was absolutely no reason to send everyone home, in my own understanding. There should have been other parameters. Not without taking away the leadership role of the Council of Elders. The Council of Elders are very important. They are the people who brought the same ones. They are the people who will help settle disputes among the various sub-clans and even with the other clans that live in the county. So you cannot ignore their advice. You cannot ignore their input. But what they really needed to do probably is to allow anyone. There should have been other indicators to check. Has Ayub performed? If so, to what level?
During his tenure?
Yeah, during his tenure, the 5-year term. Has it done very well? Is it very necessary to bring him in one more time? Probably they will develop to that other advanced level. But to the much they could understand, they had done it. I will still repeat, those who got their way to leadership through a system like the one that is being applied must oblige. That's what I would say, because that's how they came in. And probably help the elders devise new approaches in the other term so that they don't fall victim to what has actually happened now. But completely defying elders will be against our traditional norms.
So therefore they must appreciate the decision of the elders.
That's how they came.
Below Kero did the senator. The governor said no.
I applaud Below for having accepted the elders' decision. Yes.
And
isn't it's actually an affront on our systems if you don't really abide by the elders' decision.
So therefore that should be trickling down and should have a trickling down effect.
All of them for this time must accept. But they can get together, devise new approaches, so that the elders who may not be knowledgeable in terms of developing what I'm talking about, the other parameters that will be used to gauge the performance of individual members of parliament and county assembly members, do not find the same fate in the next. You must advance from where it is. Elders should have been helped to actually develop these new approaches I'm talking about. They can't do it alone. So the input of the elites or professionals, the input of women, the input of other, very important people like the leadership, the political leadership, wasn't there. So, but we can't condemn We can't condemn the elders' efforts.
Okay, as you call for an all-encompassing mechanism to bring about the concern.
But you can't condemn what they did.
Okay, so while is it therefore the concern is that therefore at some point, despite the elders' decision being a veto that should be followed to the letter, at some point when the political entities or the political leaders or the political contestants put forward their intention to contest for different posts, elective posts, at some point the elders do rule out those who have qualified and have the merit, the qualification to be the leader, to choose someone because of tribal affiliation. Isn't that therefore one that needs an amendment, even as you appreciate their role in the society?
Well, nothing much to amend really. People know who is a good leader and who is not a good leader. I mean, it's not about education alone. It's not about saying, I've just gone to parliament 5 years and you think you're the best. You may not be the best. There could be other good ones. Who said you're the only good one?
So what are the other factors that should be considered in some cases?
They understand more than we do. The good ones are known. And the ones who don't perform are known. It's not a secret. So elders must be allowed to continue making their input in the selection of candidates. This is only a selection process. And you can only help by adding value, if you have anything to add, as the political leader in office or the aspirants. Let's make good input for the elders. And where they have gaps, we actually fill in. So that we can have an all-inclusive process.
And a compact.
Yes, that will actually be a model, even for other counties that could apply the same thing.
Okay.
Even in a small way, ours in Wajir is negotiated too, because they are clan alliances. Even in your own sub-clan, there are those negotiations that happen. They may not be pronounced, but they happen. So you cannot completely condemn a process that people have spent a lot of time on, a lot of other resources on. So we cannot just condemn. For me, elders are an essential a pillar in our management at traditional and local level.
Significant pillar in the society.
Yes.
Now coming to the national politics, we have the debate that surrounded the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. The coalition that you do belong to, called coalition, went to the streets. I don't know whether you are part of that, to demand the ousting of the IEBC commissioners led by Hassan. And clearly afterwards, what turned out to be violent protests, which went viral across the country. We have a defamation of the bipartisan parliamentary committee that oversaw the smooth shipping out of office of the 8 commissioners and Hassan, the chairman. Having IEBC in place, a new IEBC in place, can that be a sort of political satisfaction to all the political entities in the country going forward to 2017?
Ayub, the street protests you saw were a demand for change. And IEBC is supposed to be a fair arbiter.
A fair referee.
A referee. If I feel you're not a fair referee, I will say I have no confidence in you. And elections are emotive in nature. We've come through a difficult time in 2007, 2008. You remember the post-election violence, where we lost lives and property. We will not want this country to actually move into those kind of stages. We will want to see a situation where we have confidence in our electoral systems. We will want to see a level playing field for all, irrespective of who comes in as the president, but a level playing field for every contestant at the national position, at the county positions, and at constituency and ward positions. If IEBC, the one that had just left a day ago, really wasn't as good as, because there were so many things beyond poor management of elections. There was so much really weaknesses and even doubts over their credibility in terms of really integrity. Let me say integrity. Though not confirmed, there were issues surrounding the chicken gate, many other small things here and there. So if I feel you have no integrity, if I feel you have no credibility to run elections, the best thing will be to do what we did. I am not saying street protests are the best, but I'll put it as a demand for change. So it was essentially a demand for change. But now that it happened and they are gone.
Was it not important to pursue a sort of negotiated before demanding?
It's still negotiated. In fact, we have had a joint parliamentary committee where Accord was represented.
That was afterwards the protests.
This is a normal demand. Pressures are there. You build pressure, so the change comes.
Now, should that be the culture in the country?
No, I will not encourage a culture of disobedience. I will not encourage a culture of intolerance. I will not encourage a culture where lives and properties of people are destroyed. I will never allow that myself. My own thinking and my own heart says no to violence, no to extremes that really create instability in this country. I don't support it at all. But I support a demand approach, because there is always a resisting force everywhere. So there should be no resisting force to bring in good change for the country. But I will not support violence. I will not support intolerance, as I've said.
In the society.
I will really encourage patience, understanding, cohesion. That's what I will encourage. But now that IEBC is gone, we're starting on a clean slate. Let's get the right people with good credentials, with good experience, with good wisdom, and one that has the confidence of all Kenyans, so that we have a smooth election, God willing, in 2017.
And beyond.
And beyond.
And now.
And beyond, because the elections don't end in 2017.
We have 5 more years to 2022.
Many more years.
That is when the hint is that in the country will mark an entrance into a clear crystal political climate in the country. Now, still with the IEBC reforms, the law has been passed by the National Assembly, and it will therefore provide a sort of a political vacuum for members of parliament or across the political divide, politicians to hop from one party to another. And afterwards, the official formation, the official launch of the Jubilee Party, that is your rival political entity, your core leader, Raila Odinga, said that this is a move to pedal back the country into the dark days. Afterwards, the folding of 11 to 12 parties forming the Jubilee Party. Now, will the electoral reform laws that is meant to keep at bay the political leaders from moving one party to another institute a clear sort of political norm in the country to have a politics of maturity, what the Jubilee Party called, and will that in essence naturalize the political situation in the country?
All over the world, what happens in Kenya is not what is noted in the developed world. Really, there are parties that existed for over 100 years. This business of forming regional parties, this business of forming tribal parties, this business of forming many affiliate parties with a view to actually clinching positions, either in government, or even in the parastatal, is madness. In fact, the new electoral laws will help us streamline operations, basically in the parties. Because you have somebody in ODM today, tomorrow you find him in another party, the following year you find him. Most of the political leaders at my age, or of my age, let me say, who have been in politics for 15 years or 20 and 30, some of them, have hopped to the minimum in 7 parties. Ask all of them, including the top leadership. They have hopped. So it's indiscipline. And that is why we cannot talk about principles or ideologies in parties. So I welcome the change in the electoral reforms myself. And for now, I would say, if Jubilee affiliate parties have teamed up to form the JAB thing, CORD is also almost thinking the same way. But so that we have one main party, one main party,
flag bearer.
And one presidential flag bearer, which we will all support.
But your house appears to be not intact. There are internal cracks.
Don't worry. Don't worry. We still have time. We still have time.
Even though they are...
They're independent. Honorable Kalonzo, Honorable Wetangula are at liberty to continue trying to popularize their parties. There's no harm.
And they are
but you never know, you never know that in another 2, 3, 4, 5 months, we could still...
Because the situation is fluid. And that
there's no fluid situation in court today. These are all very important people. You cannot say Kalonzo cannot go and popularize himself and his party. He could be the flag bearer. You cannot say Wetangula can't do. He's a former foreign affairs minister, somebody who's been in parliament for long.
And therefore he has the clout.
Well, in his own region. So Kenya is about regions and tribes. For us to win, we require all these guys. And at the end of the day, the 3 core principles can just sit somewhere and agree on one candidate and tick one. And you may be surprised as a country.
And your party ODM
Yes.
has been accused by the Fort Kenya leader Moses Wetangula of not respecting the independence of other core principles in the coalition.
I am speaking and saying he's independent. He can run and popularize his party.
By large majority, other members of the Orange Democratic Party say that he accused other members of the Orange Democratic Party, not from an individual capacity, say that they are not respecting his pronouncements of popularizing his party.
What my colleagues in ODM are saying is Raila is a formidable force.
Okay.
As indicated in 2003, 2002, 2003, 2007, 2013.
And 2017.
All they are saying, my colleagues in ODM, is that he's a formidable force. And it's just good to accept if he's a formidable force.
Okay.
That doesn't necessarily mean Kalonzo and Wetangula have no impact. It doesn't say that. It means he's a formidable force. That's how I understand it. Give the due respect and support where you think the person deserves. Allow him his space. They are also allowed their space. And at the end of the day, I think sometimes marriage is about, politics is about marriage of convenience. We may want to team up again. We are already together. And rally behind one. Yes. But it's always, ODM will just say, we'll support Raila. That is the party which we all belong to. So we'll support Raila. They will also do the same. But there are no disagreements. This I can confirm. There are no disagreements. By the way, I serve as the deputy minority leader to Moses Wetangula,
who is the minority leader in the Senate.
And we're in good talking terms. We work together as court affiliate members. And as a team, we work together.
And moving forward, the agenda of the court coalition, even as we look forward to the 25th of December, when the Wiper Party, part of the court coalition, has set the deadline to come up with a presidential flag bearer for the court coalition. AbdiRahman, Ali Hassan, thank you so much for joining us on Table Talk. That's been a lovely conversation.
Thank you.
And it's lovely to have gotten your thoughts. And thank you too for watching the show. You can also find us on Twitter at Ebru TV Kenya, at Ayub Abdikadir, and at Beryl Or. The hashtag is The Morning Show. I'll be back in 72 hours time. That is on Monday. From me and the team here, though, it's bye for now.